Hey team, so how can I increase my race stamina? Okay, that's another question a lot of runners are asking, and I wish there was an easy answer for this. I know a lot of you out there obviously can run very slow for a long period of time, as well as myself. It does not take much of it's not a big challenge to go out and run slow for a long period of time because we're producing such a small amount of lactic acid, the body can readily clear that faster than it's building up, and because the buildup is so low, you can obviously there's not much oxygen that's needed. But to increase stamina, there's no easy way around this. You have to train the body, and you have to stress the energy systems of the body adequately enough and over a long enough period of time. That's why I always stress a longer buildup is always going to be better than a shorter buildup. If you're training for a 5K or a 10K, you might be able to get you'll still be able to get decent results training for, say, 8 to 12 weeks. But if you're training for a 10-miler or a half marathon or 20K, 25K, or a marathon, the best bet is to focus on a minimum of 16 weeks. But optimally, you want to look at a 4 to 5 month buildup. So 20 to 24 weeks, that is what I always focused on over the years to not only increase my stamina in the races, but to know that I was going into my races 100% prepared. Okay, when I ran under 220 for the marathon, I had spent a 6-month buildup leading into that. So increasing stamina is about just being persistent over a long period of time and really training at your VO2 max. So you're running 95 to 100% of your maximum heart rate. Obviously, we can only spend a few seconds to a few minutes at those particular intensities. So you do want to, in terms of how can I increase my stamina when I'm racing, you want to make sure you're doing hill repetitions. You want to get being forced to lift your knees and to really experience those high amounts of lactic acid buildup, and lifting your knees, pumping your arms, going up a hill anywhere from 200 to 300 meters, and not going all out in the early stages of your buildup. Okay, you want to again gradually increase the intensity of your reps, and obviously as you get fitter, you want to increase the intensity of your reps, but also lessening the amount of rest that you're giving yourself between each one of those reps. So it's the same if you're doing intervals on the track. If you're doing repeat 200s, or you're doing repeat 800s or miles, or repeat 1600s, or repeat 3200 meter reps. Those are a big part of the way I build the training plans and the running courses I've created on RunDreamAchieve.com. It's basically revolved around the same exact types of workouts I was taught over the years by 3 of the world's top distance running coaches, Dr. Joe Vigil, Jack Hazen, who coached me from 1995 to 2000 at Malone University, and Lisa Rainsberger, who worked with me as my coach when I was with the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program. Lisa, I definitely credit to this very pace long run mindset that I talk about on the videos and the products that I've created, because she kind of mentioned to me, she's like, hey, if you want to go from 2:43 for the marathon to breaking 2 hours and 22 minutes, which was a major goal of mine back in 2007, that was a USA Track and Field Olympic Trials B standard time. That was the minimum amount of time that you needed to run in order to qualify for the 2008 Olympic Trials. And what I was doing was running long, slow, easy distance runs every single weekend for my long runs. If you want to build stamina, if you want to increase your stamina, long runs are important. You will build stamina and you will build endurance when you're running long, slow, and easy for long periods of time, a couple hours to 3 hours long. And you will teach the body to burn fat more effectively. But at the same time, you to make sure that you're lessening the amount of slowdown effect in your races and being able to sustain race pace for a longer period of time, you have to run at faster paces during your long runs. And I'm not saying you do that every single weekend, okay? You have to make sure that you're paying attention to your recovery, making sure that you're running slow enough that you can continue to really hammer when it comes down to, doing track sessions and doing VO2 max workouts and tempo runs each week. You also increase your stamina by doing longer threshold runs, okay? or tempo runs. They're close in similarities. Tempo runs are slightly slower than a threshold run, but both of them are running at a very high intensity. And so you do want to make sure that you're lengthening the amount of duration of those tempo runs and making sure that, again, you're experiencing higher amounts of lactic acid, running at a higher heart rate. When I did my tempo runs, I would usually be running anywhere from around 168 to 173 beats per minute. Okay, and that was obviously when I was 31 years old. Okay, I just turned 47 in August of last month. So obviously running at 168 to 173 beats per minute now versus when I was 31 would be a different story. So again, it's you want to base it off. You're going to base it off of. I always recommend going off of feel, more so off of heart rate, but sometimes if you're wearing a heart rate monitor, it's much more beneficial because you're focusing on just staying at that same heart rate and letting the splits take care of themselves. Okay, so focus on, if you're doing heart rate monitor training, I definitely recommend that as well. But again, if you're feeling like crap, make sure that I would rather you just jog on that particular day if you're not feeling great at all, and give yourself another 24 hours before you go and do that planned track workout, long run or tempo run. Give yourself a day or two to make sure that you're again recovering. That's why I always say that make sure that you're monitoring your morning heart rate as well. So if in most mornings your morning heart rate is say like 55, and then one morning you wake up and it's like 66 or 67, I would recommend either jogging that day if you had a track workout or a tempo run planned, and wait another 24 hours and then do that planned anaerobic workout the following day. Okay, so make sure that when you're writing down your workouts or when you're planning out what you're doing throughout the week, that you're also monitoring your daily morning heart rate, because checking that obviously will ensure that you don't overtrain throughout your buildup. Okay, again, train smarter, not harder. We all know how to train hard, but the hardest working athletes don't always get the best results. The hardest working individuals don't always make the most money. Okay, it's just it's a different type of philosophy, different type of mindset. Even in business school, I've not been taught anything about how to really work smart. I've been taught how to work hard and how to go up the corporate ladder. But when someone out there with a high school diploma or a GED or someone that's dropped out of high school is making more in an hour or a month than a PhD or an MD or a attorney makes in a year, that's a different type of mindset. That's working smart work rather than working hard. So again, it's the same with training. It's the same with being an athlete. Okay, you have to think, is running 100 miles a week or running 140 kilometers or 180 kilometers a week going to guarantee me better results? That's not. There are athletes that are running 50% of that amount of volume that are getting the equivalent types of results as the athlete running much more mileage. So it's not about how much mileage you're putting in as much as it is the quality of the work that you're putting in. So I hope this makes sense in terms of how can I increase my stamina, make sure that you're stressing the body adequately. You're running anywhere from 25% up to around 40% of your weekly volume at or below your anaerobic threshold. That is what the best middle to long distance runners are doing. So again, if you run too much aerobic mileage each week, you will be a very strong, long, slow distance runner. But most of you who watch these videos are trying to run a specific time over your chosen distance. Maybe you're trying to break 20 minutes for the 5K, or maybe you're trying to break 2 hours and 30 minutes for the marathon. You have to continue to look at how you're setting up your training and monitor how much of my weekly volume am I really training at or below my goal race pace, and am I paying attention to how fast I'm running on my easy days? Am I still running too fast, or am I running too slow throughout the week too often? These are things that will really affect your ability to increase your stamina in training as well as in the race. So I hope this is helpful for you. Feel free to leave me a comment below. Like and share these videos. I really appreciate that. Definitely also check out the resources below all my videos, as well as on RunDreamAchieve.com. They're there to help you get to the next level in your racing and training. And I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you all in the next one.